Thank you, Ollie. For those of you who know me well, extemporaneous remarks are generally the way I speak. But I was urged, and very appropriately, to write a few remarks for today so that I would be able to recall and remember, despite the emotional feelings that I have looking out at all of you. So here goes, but I will add some extemporaneous remarks. Sandy, my appreciation for your beautiful words, your time-consuming efforts to interview my colleagues, and the crafting of your incredible speech. I appreciate that it was not an instant yes, that you needed to think about it, and I'm so grateful that you said yes. Thank you to the board of San Francisco Hillel for selecting me to be honored, and to Ali Ben, Jillian Chen, and Debbie Leifer for making today happen. My appreciation also to Carol Weitz for the beautiful tribute book, which I understand I'm going to see soon. Thank you to the many friends and colleagues whose names are listed as the honorary committee for today, but most significantly, my fellow Congregational Past President Arthur Slepian and his spouse Jerry Yamato, my former student. David Stearman, the president of the board of the Bureau of Jewish Education, when I served on the board, and one of the few times I said no. I declined his generous offer to serve as president of the board, and I appreciate the affection that both he and his lovely wife Anne have given me over the years. Rachel Brody and Adam Weisberg, colleagues and devoted friends, whose work in the Jewish community in the United States and Bulgaria is an inspiring example for every young person. For those of you who are not familiar with them, their eldest daughter is named Sophia, and I will leave the connection to Bulgaria. To those of you who traveled far to be with Bob and me today, my nephew John Haas, my family of choice, Alice, Ari, and Kimberly Rubenfeld, my colleague David Levy, who served as the regional director of LA Hillel, and his spouse Stephen Karbelnig, Jacob Picard, the firstborn of our dear friends Miriam and Danny, Jody Bromberg, the CEO of Interfaith Family, and Herb Tobin, my Scotch-drinking partner and mentor, whose genius, energy, and chutzpah has made the renaissance of Hillel truly possible. His name is not the first name you hear of when you think of the renaissance of Hillel. But if Herb had not raised millions upon millions of dollars for Hillel International and all the new buildings across the United States and Canada, Hillel would not be where it is today. And last night, he did not come to dinner. Why? Because he said, I have to have dinner with a gentleman whom I hope will help to rebuild San Francisco Hillel. To Bob Gutterman, who refers to himself humorously, but with a bit of bite, as my third spouse. My second Alan Goldman's here. I owe you thanks for the privilege you gave me to be me, to leave you home on too many nights, and to serve in the Jewish community with time and financial resources. Sorry about not supporting your request for a holiday tree. But hope the many Seder and Rosh Hashanah dinners makes up for it. Many of you who are here today are from my spiritual community, Shar Zahav, my home away from home, and a community that has withstood the vicissitudes of life and continues to be a beacon for those seeking a welcoming and nurturing place in Jerusalem, and Judaism too. I appreciate the support and presence of my colleagues from Menorah Park, Interfaith Family, and those with whom I volunteered and worked with at the San Francisco Jewish Community Federation. There are a special group of people who are not here today, who are anonymous to almost everyone. The nurses, doctors, and medical researchers who have on countless occasions saved my life and gave me the ability to continue my contributions. In the fall of 1979, Rob Tatt, a third-generation San Franciscan, and I joined the old JCC to use the gym. The back of the application asked about any previous volunteer activities. And as I started writing, Rob suggested caution. As they would probably call on me very soon. Prophetic words, as I rarely made it to the gym in the ensuing years. It is difficult to sum up what has been an extraordinary journey of following my passions, from student leadership to a change agent in the care of the mentally ill, to lesbian and gay rights, to the reimagination of Hillel in Northern California, to supporting Menorah Park to be the finest Jewish-sponsored, subsidized senior housing in the United States, and to making room in our Jewish world for those who appear in our doorways and ask us to join in the tent of Sarah and Abraham. I cannot single out every person in this room who has made this journey with me during the past years, and I thank all of you for being here and the stories that I could tell by looking out at your faces. But two of you have become my family. My friends, confidants, and collaborators. James Carlson refused to just be my student and fellow congregant, and I am thankful for his persistence. Brian Christensen, my oldest friend in San Francisco of blessed memory, asked you why you were allowing me to lead you to Judaism, and you answered with poignancy and love. We laughed. Kimberly Miller Rubenfeld, the answer to Ari's heart's desire, has in fewer than 2 decades become a major leader, donor, and innovator in the Jewish community. I introduced her to a Reform-sponsored Introduction to Judaism program, but it was not serious enough scholarship for her. With the help and support of Rabbi Dorothy Richmond and Rabbi Elliot Cosgrove, she is a worthy successor of our biblical Ruth. The selection of a fund named in my honor for student leadership and mentoring returns me to my earliest school days in Queens. Not the Bronx. Queens. Not everyone has parents, as I was fortunate to have had, who teach, guide, and nurture. Using these resources to nurture the leaders of the future enables my values to live on in all the possibilities of young people coming to our campuses for their bachelor and graduate education. As my mentor Robert Levison used to tell, both he and I never went to Hillel as undergraduates, but we understood the critical importance of Hillel in our generation to young people developing adult Jewish identity at a time of multiple identities. And we both made it an important part of our life's work. San Francisco Hillel, as Adam spoke about it, has been a troubled Hillel primarily because of where we are. We have the largest Palestinian and Middle Eastern student population outside of Detroit in the Bay Area. And I always felt it was important for our students and our professionals to understand the pain that many of these young people had on campus, because either they had fled or their parents had fled, and they still had immediate relatives suffering in pain. And the issue was not either or. The issue had to be, how do we hear, how do we support, how do we transmit, how do we share and not condemn? And so this Hillel, a commuter Hillel, similar to the commuter school that I went to, Queens College, has opportunities but also great challenges. And the fund that you have so generously supported will hopefully allow Rachel and her successors to create programs for freshman students so that the fears that they may have when they come to campus, not knowing anyone, and for the first time being away from their parents, can be relieved by programs of welcoming. We use the term welcoming too often in a whole variety of environments. But welcoming is not just saying hello. Welcoming is listening. Welcoming is reaching out. Welcoming is sharing your passion with young people so that they too can find paths for themselves. Telephone surveys, to thank our members for being members and to ask them for their feedback. So I agreed to do it, and we gave out names and telephone numbers, and we scheduled evenings for board members to come in and use the phones. It was before the cell phone days. A board member raised her hand and said, why do we have to come here rather than taking the names? We could make these phone calls at home, and it would be easier for us. And I said, it's important to do it here so that after the phone calls are over, you can talk with one another about the experience and not bore your spouse at home. And someone shouted out, or significant other. For those of you who are too young to understand, that was a pivotal moment when I realized that the Bay Area was to be my home for the rest of my life. I could go on again, but Ali is already anxious. And I must end by thanking all of you for your perseverance, for the generosity, and for the many ways in which you have allowed me to meet the obligation of L'Ador Vador from generation to generation. Thank you all.